Hi, girls. How are you?
Great. How about you?
Ah, fresh hairdo. Every day's a good day when you get a fresh hairdo. Oh, it's gloomy here. I want spring.
Yeah, so it's not great here either. It's temperature wise, it's not bad. It's about 8 degrees, but it's overcast. We had freezing rain and all that nonsense yesterday. So March is that kind of a month, eh? It tends to be one that you want to see go, because it just has too much going on in it. It's like, you know what? You're hard to handle, March. Let's get you on your road.
I have some friends like that.
Talking about that, letting go March. What a great let-in. Have there been people in your lifetime that you have just felt they've ran their course? Not in a good way or a bad way, but just that, ran their course.
For me, I think there's been people in my life that have come and go. I think primarily because of the circumstance in which they are there in the first place. So we've got, like my school age friends, there was a few of them that really stuck and we stayed friends like long into our 20s. But even that, physical distance started to create that erosion of being together. People's lives get really busy, careers, kids, like all of that kind of stuff. It's easy not to. But for me, I think it's primarily been more of a circumstantial thing. I've had people come into my life through work that have been phenomenal individuals, love them to death. But, they've moved on or I've moved on. And then again, that relationship has just sort of died off, neither for a good reason or for a bad reason. There are people in my life that I have had in my life for a very long time that I feel very blessed that they're still there. Yeah. I sometimes worry that my longevity in those relationships will come to an end just because of what you're saying, that they just kind of disappear. But I wouldn't say that I've actually had a relationship where it's like, this is good. I'm finished with you now, or I'm finished with this phase of this relationship and I can move on from here, because they are going to as well. I don't know if I've ever had one of those actually.
Have you? Well, let me ask this question. This popped in my brain. Have you ever thought, I don't want that relationship to fizzle out or change, so I'm going to work extra hard on it? And I'm talking maybe friendships. I'm not talking within your own. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. I know that there was one point in my life where the expectations of a friend were not the same expectations I had. So they were expecting me to show up a certain way, and I didn't know what that rule was. So I wasn't showing up that way, right? And then the moment I found that rule out, it was like, oh, okay, no problem. I can do that. And I think that becomes really important in terms of being in a relationship and creating, identifying what those expectations are that you have of somebody, right? Like if you're the kind of person who's like, you know what, it's my birthday, you better wish me a happy birthday or I'm going to think that you don't care about me anymore, then that needs to be communicated, because you could be the person that says, I don't, like I care about you. You don't need to have a special day for me to tell you I care about you, kind of person, right? But it's all about laying out what those expectations are. So because for some people, some things are really important, for others, they just aren't. And if you don't know what those are, that can create problems within the relationship itself. So yeah, once I knew what that situation was, then yeah, I went, I worked hard at creating that perspective in our relationship to make sure that I met those needs. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what you said, lots of it's circumstantial, where it's the bond you create maybe a work friend or a school friend or things like that. And sometimes that bond, you leave that job or something like that, you're still, love them to death, but you just don't have that same connection. And it's a lot of work to keep that up, even though you want the best for them. I have friend groups from my elementary school. We still keep in touch. We still get together, and we love that part because we really know each other, and we know kind of a little bit of dirt on each other and go, oh yeah, don't, we'll call you out on it, because don't be coming all off like this when we know exactly what you've done all your life, right? Good and bad, nothing. It's not like I did anything crazy, but it's good to be kind of held accountable to some of those friends. But for me, and I've talked about this before on this show, is that I'm really trying to find my voice. And I actually surrounded myself certain times in my life with toxic girlfriends that weren't really there for me. And it's like, I'm going to do this. And they go, really? You're going to do that, Tracy? And so recognizing that they weren't good for me, there was no blowout. I just realized I had to slowly not be engaged with them as much as I was.
Yeah.
Tracy, I love that.
Do you think that the situation, the people that have the dirt from the past, so to speak, I always find that interesting, because it's like the past is just that. It's the past. Who you were 10 years ago is not who you are now. For that matter, who you were 2 months ago is not who you are right now.
Oh, right. I'm just joking. Like, it's just that we know each other so well that,
okay.
That's more what I mean, is that we're not going to pull. Sometimes you get into friendships and you're slightly not you. And with this group, we're so raw because we really know what everyone's been through, and we don't put on any fronts. I still struggle when I meet someone new to put on the real Tracy. Like, I'm still kind of trying to, do that balance of, oh, what type of person do you like? Oh, maybe I'll be a little bit like that. So for me, these are anchors in my life, because I can't put on any airs, pretends.
Right. That's so interesting. So how do you navigate that? How do you read that in terms of what is it that you think the other person is expecting of you?
With those friends or new friends?
No, with new friends. When you meet somebody new, you said, like, I'm like, you struggle to be the real you, and maybe they want to see this.
I defer to the alpha. I go immediately. Well, not anymore, because at my age, I've recognized a lot, but I would defer and I would go, oh, Tracy, you're like this. Oh, I'm kind of like that too. And it's like, why are you putting on that not authentic you? Because in the end, it doesn't work. Because it just doesn't work. So how I navigate it now is I don't put on those. I really try. I'm also not super outgoing when you first meet me. So I'm more reserved. So I don't really present too much of myself until I kind of scope you out and go, oh, okay, I think there's a connection here. I'm going to reveal a little bit more of myself. Where before I might have revealed myself in a way which was more towards how you are than how I was.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Tracy, I love that.
I've worked on myself.
You probably have. I'm the same as you in the past. I always wanted to. I think maybe it was more of my people pleaser.
Yeah.
In me, that you want to be liked or want to be part of the whatever is happening, and don't want to be like talked about behind your back. Oh, look at her. She doesn't do this, or look at that, or whatever. Until, again, a lot of soul searching and a lot of leaving behind people that came into my life that I really didn't want there anymore. So same as both of you have said, I've had people come in my life who have been wonderful in my life, but it was a change of job. I moved from Connecticut to Wisconsin, different schools, different parts of life, whatever, that they left my life, and still have great fond memories. At times, probably through social media, we'll pick up and kind of chit chat a little bit, but nothing to a big friendship or aspect. And then there were people, like you said, Tracy G, of toxic people that needed to be gone from my life, or not so much toxic. It was really, why am I hanging around with that person? And I have some very close people in my life that I have nothing in common with. And I kind of love that because they kind of make me think things through differently and challenge me. So I don't always try to navigate. I try to push myself sometimes towards somebody who's a little different than me, but not in my beliefs or my morals, but just have a different maybe outlook on something. So it kind of challenges me and I can learn from that person. But with that said, I've also just like dropped people, and I've met a lot of people because I used to do a lot of traveling in my job, because and all the trade shows I used to do and out visiting customers and everything. And I've met wonderful, wonderful people. And when I no longer was doing that position in the last couple of years, there's only like 4 people that I still talk to the like slew of them that I've seen all the time and would have dinner to, and I just don't miss them. Like there's some I'm like, oh, I miss that person. And there's some like, yeah, that one I don't miss at all. Like, no. So I think, like you said, Tracy G, I learned to find my voice. I learned to find what I'm comfortable with. And I will explain myself to a certain degree. Meaning, I am no longer having any alcohol in my life due to my trainings, doing just to a couple other personal reasons. And I don't explain that in detail to somebody who doesn't know me, because to me, it's really none of their business. I'll give a higher level. And if you accept that and move on, then you're respecting me. Then I'll, like you said, Tracy, I'll open up my world a little bit more. But if you come at me too strong or too hard at that, I'm like, that's a sign, and I put up my wall. Nope.
Well, I had the one toxic friend I had. What's really interesting, because she called me out on something that I thought in my 20s that I might want to pursue. And now looking back on my life, I go, oh my God, I would have been amazing at that. But because of one toxic girlfriend, I allowed that to kind of get into my brain that I couldn't do it. So for anyone out there, don't let those people talk to you like that, and don't allow it to worm into your head where you think that that's a valid reason not to do something. And that's why I do not surround myself at all with toxic people. I have a group of girlfriends that we work towards being vulnerable with each other, which was another amazing step for me, because it takes a lot for me to peel back the layer. And it's a beautiful friendship among, there's like 5 of us that we just talk real girl talk, right?
Yeah. And I
that's,
love that
I'm going to say that's rare to have
Yeah.
those kinds of relationships.
Mm.
I think it's very, I don't think that there is a lot of, I mean, I could be totally wrong. Certainly in my life, that's a rarity to have that type of connection where there's no fear of reprisal in anything that you say. It's not going to come back and hit you in the face.
Yeah, I have 3 sets of those groups. I have another group with my husband and couples, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. But I had to be vulnerable and actually use my voice, which is, really say something about me, which really opens it up, because then you know what, you make those connections or you don't, and push them aside in a nice way, gently but firmly.
Yeah. I like the way you said that, gently. It doesn't mean that that person's a bad person.
No.
There's just not a connection there. And that is okay.
Yeah.
I learned that's okay. You don't need to be liked by everybody. You should be, there should be a mutual respect, but you don't have to be liked from everybody. And that took me a long time to understand. And how I understood it was, I might not like that person. So why do I want to be liked by everybody? Like, I was trying to please everybody, but yeah.
Funny, right? That's,
Yeah,
that's super funny. Like, I don't like that person, but I want to be liked by everyone, right?
right. Like, that's an oxymoron a little bit. Like, and that's when I, like you guys are saying, that's why I found the voice a little bit more so. Like, no, it's just, we have nothing in common. And I'm never mean or hostile or whatever to the people, but I'm able to set the right boundaries, I think is the word.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.